The whole thing happened on Monday when 4 Russian Tu-95 Bear bombers flew into the Air Defense Identification Zone off the coast of Alaska, also known as the ADIZ. At that point, 2 U.S. fighter jets were sent to make sure the planes didn't get any closer. 2 of the bombers went back to Russia, the other 2 continued south. Those 2 entered ADIZ once again near Northern California. This time they were picked up by a pair of American F-15 fighters, at which point they turned back towards Russia.
The Swedish military say its fighter aircraft were scrambled on Saturday to intercept 2 Russian Tupolev Tu-22 nuclear bombers. The Russian planes flew over parts of the southern Baltic and came close to Swedish airspace. They were followed by several nations' air forces, according to a press release from the Swedish Armed Forces. Last month, Sweden's top military commander, Sverker Göransson, said Russia's air force was behaving in an increasingly aggressive manner, flying dangerously close to Swedish jets.
It's been revealed that Finland's Air Force scrambled to intercept Russian military aircraft recently after violating the Nordic country's airspace. The Russian Il-76 was travelling west en route from Russia when it entered a kilometre into Finnish territory, border officials said, according to the BBC. The transport plane failed to leave Finnish airspace when demanded and flew without transponders on, a potential danger for other passenger planes in the skies. The incident occurred on June the 26th.
Estonian officials say a Russian military aircraft violated Estonian airspace over the Baltic Sea this week. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mari-Liis Valter says the ministry summoned the Russian ambassador Friday to formally protest the incursion. Valter says a Russian Antonov An-26 aircraft strayed from its reported flight plan Monday and entered Estonian airspace without permission near the island of Vaindloo.
5 Russian military planes were spotted near the airspace of Latvia on Tuesday, the National Armed Forces of Latvia reported on Wednesday on Twitter. Last month, Swedish fighter jets intercepted 2 Russian bombers flying in international airspace over the Baltic Sea, close to the Swedish border.
Tail number 34.
Swedish fighter jets allegedly detected 2 Russian bombers in its international airspace over Sweden's Åland Island in the Baltic Sea Thursday, military sources said. The 2 Tu-22 bombers were intercepted by 2 Swedish JAS Gripen jets at noon on Thursday, Supreme Commander of the Swedish Armed Forces General Sverker Göransson told the Swedish national radio broadcaster, EKOT. The Russian bombers, which are capable of carrying nuclear warheads, resumed their normal routes after the interception.
British Royal Air Force Typhoon jets have intercepted a Russian military plane close to Estonian airspace. NATO fighter pilots were scrambled to monitor the Russian Il-20 surveillance aircraft on Tuesday afternoon, which was flying in international waters.
The jets were initially deployed from the Armari Air Force Base in Estonia. Now this took place on Monday following reports of an aircraft approaching the Baltic airspace without sharing a flight plan. It was identified as a Kut-A surveillance aircraft by Russia, and the Typhoon jets then shadowed this spy plane and escorted it out of the area. So Russia continues to keep a close eye, continues to send planes, whether they be bombers, they be jets, they be spy planes, in and around different areas of the EU.
All right, the United States says it will file an official complaint after a close call on Tuesday between an American spy plane and a Russian fighter jet. The Pentagon says the U.S. aircraft like this one seen here was flying in international airspace north of Poland when the Russian jet intercepted it. A Pentagon spokesman says the Russian pilot acted, quote, unsafe and unprofessional because of close proximity and high rate of speed.
It's seeing increasing incidents of this. The Russians have done almost 4 times as many of these kinds of incursions and challenges of aircraft, not only the United States but other NATO nations this year, a significant increase across the board. This is something that we have repeatedly claimed is dangerous because Russians are not only going up to our airplanes in a threatening manner, but they've also conducted some of these kinds of overflights of European territory without transponders on. So it's just a very dangerous set of circumstances.
Now, Swedish and NATO fighter jets have intercepted 4 Russian aircraft flying over the Baltic Sea with their transponders switched off. Swedish officials say they intercepted 2 Russian backfire bombers, which were being escorted by 2 flanker fighter jets. A NATO official also said Danish and Italian jets based in Lithuania were scrambled to identify the Russian aircraft heading to the Russian Baltic enclave of Kaliningrad. Swedish Foreign Minister Margot Wallström slammed Russia's action as unacceptable and in violation of international aviation rules.
Прием. Я 21215, примите радио. Прием радио, готов. Баланс, я 21215, передаю радио. Знак раздела 791, семерка, девятка, единица. 952, девятка, пятерка, двойка. 200, двойка, 0, 0. 263, двойка, шестерка, тройка. Прием. Повторите 4-ю группу. Прием. Баланс, я 21215, радио подтверждаю. Прием.
Well, Swedish defence officials are describing this as a fairly serious incident involving a commercial airliner and a Russian military plane. Sweden's Air Force chief saying that the Russian aircraft, later identified as an intelligence plane, nearly collided with the passenger jet in international airspace to the south of Sweden on December the 12th. He said the transponders on the Russian aircraft, which make it visible to commercial radar, had been switched off, describing that move as dangerous and inappropriate. Well, in recent months, Russia has been dramatically expanding its military presence, particularly in the skies over the Baltic Sea.
I helvete!
A study by the European Leadership Network details more than 40 close military encounters over the last 8 months. On the 3rd of March, a civilian airliner taking off from Copenhagen came within 90 metres of a Russian reconnaissance aircraft, which was not transmitting its position. The Rome-bound flight had 132 passengers on board. In early September, they recorded Russian strategic bombers in the Labrador Sea near Canada, practising what they believe to be simulated cruise missile strikes on the United States. On September 17th, 2 Russian aircraft violated Swedish airspace in what the country's foreign minister described as the most serious aerial incursion in years. The following week, RAF fighter jets were scrambled twice to intercept Russian long-range strategic bombers. A degree of mutual probing is routine, but NATO is reporting an unusual level of Russian activity over European airspace.